So we'll move right into the panel discussion. And the topic is the value of mentorship for women in university and early stage careers. So to do us the honors, the moderator will be Miss Ivy Masese, who is the community manager for AfChix. Please let's give her a round of applause as she comes.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing great. I'm so happy to see you here. You're all looking really beautiful today, and I hope you'll enjoy the next session. So, allow me to introduce our panel discussion. I'm going to introduce everyone individually, and then later they'll tell us what they do. That way, you can get to know them a bit better, and later, if you want to network with them, at least you have a personal touch with them. So I'm going to start with Miss Luvina Sarah, who is the President Women in Tech Ghana. Kindly give her a round of applause as she comes in. The next person I'm going to introduce is Miss Georgette Kissi, who is the AG Head IT Security and Planning at University of Ghana. Kindly give her an applause as she comes in. And finally, I'm going to introduce Miss Georgina Maison, who is a software developer at the Association of African Universities right here in Ghana. So give her a round of applause as she comes in. And then this is our final lady. She's very beautiful. So make sure you scream as she comes. I'm joking. Allow me to introduce Miss Naana. She's Yes, she's a HR executive at Tullow, Ghana. Please give her a round of applause as she comes in. So I did promise you we have beautiful ladies, and the good thing about them is they're not just beauty, they're also brains. So you're going to learn from them today as much as possible. So be sure to have your questions ready. I am going to be the moderator for this session. So feel free to just enjoy the session as much as possible. Keep your questions at hand. And later, we're going to have a nice Q&A session where you're going to ask your questions personally, and they can be able to address it. So thank you, everyone. Is there an extra microphone right there? Okay, perfect. So I think we're ready to begin the session. Let me just sit down. So as I said, we have the HR expert, Miss Naana. We have who is a senior HR business partner at Tullow Ghana Limited. We have Miss Georgina Mason. We have Miss Luvina. Please, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Unfortunately, I'm Kenyan, or fortunately. So the way we pronounce our names is not the same way you pronounce your names right here in Ghana. And then we finally have Miss Georgette Kissi, and I really hope you're going to pay attention to these ladies. So good afternoon and welcome to a panel discussion on the value of mentorship for women in university and early stage careers. And then we gather here in memory of Ms. Nodumo Dhlamini, whose dedication to supporting women in technology continues to inspire us. And today we'll explore how mentorship can transform careers, break barriers, and finally bring stronger connections within communities across Africa. So I hope you're all ready. And I guess we are ready to start our questions. Yay! So, so we are going to start with everyone. Everybody's going to answer this. So can you tell us about a mentorship moment, either as a mentor or a mentee, that significantly shaped your career in tech? I think we can start with you, Miss Naana. Oh, let's start with Luvina. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. My name is Luvina Sandra Atsu. Yes, and you didn't made up my name, so no problem. I work with the Electricity Company of Ghana with the IT department. I've been in the support directorate for almost 15 years now. I also work with Women in Tech as a volunteer and the president for the Ghana chapter. And thank you for your question. So I had to give this background because I am a product of mentorship. So when I was called to be on this panel, I found it a privilege and also found a great opportunity to share my experience with those online and anybody here. I grew up as a very shy person. I didn't think I could go out and even sit in front of people like this. I didn't have that confidence until I was exposed to a program, and I'll share with one of the panel members. I went for a Women in Engineering program about 4 years ago. And that was the first time I was on a panel discussion, and I felt like my world was going to come to an end. I didn't know how I'll sit in front of people, talk and dialogue with other women. But I got someone who was a mentor in my organization, a woman who had been leading the Women in Engineering unit in my organization. She's actually someone I'd always been looking up to because I always asked myself how she was able to go far and at the same time be able to manage a family. So when she asked me to come on this panel, I took that bold step, and I believe that step changed my life. Because at that summit, I saw a lot of women from various backgrounds, women with a lot of experiences, women who had PhDs, women who were doing amazing things. And look, here I was at that moment thinking of just being someone with a BSc degree and just taking care of my family. That was my mentality. But that inspiration that I got from that program changed my mind. And I was inspired to go out of that box that I had created for myself for a while. And it was that aspect of my life that also made me now start searching for a group of women with the same mindset as me or with the same challenges as me to be part of. That's where I found Women in Tech Global. It was a global group of women in various disciplines. We had women in tech, we had women in arts, and women in engineering, and all the other disciplines that you could think of. But I realized they didn't have any chapter here in Ghana. And here am I, a very shy person, a very reserved person, going out and asking for the opportunity to start a chapter here. That should tell you that mentorship that I had, whether it was direct or indirect, kind of changed the perception that I had about life and also transformed me to become a better person. And I see myself as somebody who always grows because day in and day out, I learn new things, I interact with new people, I get exposed to better opportunities that transform my life. So for me, just that opportunity of being part of a group or a program that exposed me to other women like me who were doing things that I didn't think I could do. Brought that thing out of me, that thing that was hidden that I didn't know was there. And it pushed me to go the extra mile of even going to start a Women in Tech Ghana chapter, something I never thought I could. So the mentorship I had for my role model, I call her my role model because she pushed me out of my box. That transformed my life. And this is where I am because of that. So that is my story. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Georgette Mirekua Kissi. I work with the University of Ghana with the IT Directorate. I work with the IT Security Unit as the acting head. I also work with Cyber Girls. It's a group, and we do mentorship for girls. I'm also a mentor and a mentee with Women in Cybersecurity Global. So, talking about mentorship, I grew up with a mantra of, so that's my personal mantra, be the mentor you wish you had. So that's one thing that pushes me to do mentorship and to mentor people. because growing up, I didn't really get the mentor, and I didn't really get mentorship to move or to guide me during my career path. So I started as a network engineer, and at a point, I wanted to do cybersecurity. So after my cybersecurity education and training, I came back, didn't know where to start. It was my mentor who actually guided me. She told me I could do it. She gave me tips, and she directed me and told me how possible it is to do it. So I would say it's a mentor that actually made me believe in myself to branch into another field in tech. So before joining cybersecurity and then after, it was a mentor that actually helped me to be here. Yeah. Thank you.
So I am Georgina Diana Mason, and I work as a software developer at the Association of African Universities. Unlike Georgette, I would say I had a lot of mentorship in my life growing up. And I would like to emphasize that I don't just mean career mentorship, I mean like in parts of my entire life. I grew up knowing that I could do anything and everything that I wanted. My parents opened me up to a lot of opportunities where I didn't think that anything could actually stop me from getting to where I wanted to go to. Another key thing I also remember is before I went into university and applying, I had my big brother with me helping me fill the forms, and he's in tech. And so he's like, no, you're going to do a bachelor's in information technology. And here I was thinking, oh, I would rather do business because I love math and I want to do something where I can be doing some formulas and calculations. Like, no, go into tech. And I'm like, okay. So I get admitted into school. I'm doing my tech courses, and I find out, oh, it's actually not as difficult. It's easy. My sister is doing computer science. So everything just seemed quite normal for me. If I had any questions with class, I would call her. She would help me with homework and everything. Now I graduate, right, and I get into the working environment, and I meet the queen, Miss Nodumo Dhlamini, and she's my boss. And this woman was so great as a mentor. She actually she would not even make you feel like you're being mentored. It just feels like normal interactions. But there's so many things that she says and she does that pushes us. For instance, in meetings, I just give an update of what I've done, and she say, "Thank you very much." And I'm like, "Okay, but this is my job. Why are you thanking me to do this?" And it made every little thing I feel significant and important for the organization. And I think that was a very key thing for me to experience, because she would say, if she were here, that when I started working, I was very shy and very unsure of my skills. But hearing thank you all the time, hearing it being repeated that, oh, you did a great job, just made me feel like, yes, I actually can keep doing this and I'm good at it. And that was a very key point for me in my career. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Naana Obeng Drah. I'm a senior HR business partner with Tullow. I've been in HR for over 11 years. And so today I'm just going to be speaking to you from an HR lens and a recruiter lens, which is quite in line with the theme for today's program. So in terms of mentoring, it's such a key aspect of personal development. I'm not sure there is anybody who has succeeded to the very top without some form of mentoring. For me, it's usually the small and simple things. A mentor for me is someone who I can trust, someone who believes in me when I don't believe in myself. And I'm sure on the basis of that, we can think of several people who we can call mentors. For me, it's important that at every stage in your career, there are certain hard decisions that need to be taken. And these decisions form the basis of our careers, if you want. And at the point of making these decisions, there are people who have significant experience that you can tap into to help you know for yourself whether you are making the right decisions or not. Ultimately, you have to make those decisions. Your mentor cannot force you to make those decisions, but it is through their experience and the exposure that you have that guides you to make these decisions. So I would just recall very early on at the point where I needed to make a decision around my first degree. I had the opportunity to go into my first year, but I didn't have the chance to do like a Monday to Friday kind of study. I had a weekend option. So here I was, just spending time at home during the week and just going to school on Friday evenings. And then there was this older woman who was a senior in HR who just told me, why don't you, find something to do during the week? And for me, that was the turning point. And I'm just going to take that back to the fact that looking at me, and you're probably wondering, how do you have 11 years experience in HR? It's just because I started working from my very first year. So by the time I was done with university, I had 4 years of experience, which put me at an edge versus my colleagues who spend virtually the entire 100% of their time in school. So it's important that whenever you have these major decisions, you resort to people who see beyond what you see based on the experience that they have. And that's what I would like to share.
Okay. Lovely, lovely. Clearly we have experts over here. We've had mentors who it does not start from university, it starts from home. They help you make decisions, and clearly you've seen how much it's impacted and informed the positivity that they've experienced in their lives. So thank you so much for answering that question. I think we can proceed to the next question. And this question is going to be directed to Miss Maison. Are you ready? Okay, perfect. So being early career and the youngest in the workforce in this panel, what kind of mentorship did you wish you had access to during your studies?
Okay, so during my studies, I think what I would have loved was access to more opportunities, know about events like this that I could participate in, find actually groups that I could join and listen to. So in school, it was more about the learning and the books and everything, and my mentorship was mostly from my sister and my elder brother who are already in tech, but that is also quite limited and saturated. So if I could have opened up and joined more groups like these, I think I would have had more opportunities to express myself and understand how best I could grow in the career.
Okay, perfect. And maybe if I can just ask another question right on top. If there's something you could maybe encourage companies to do from your perspective as a student when it comes to mentoring, what would you encourage them to do when it comes to approaching university students?
Okay, so most of our universities, I believe, will do career fairs where they would invite companies to come and speak and would focus on, oh, let's help you write your CV. But they don't actually put an emphasis on mentorship. If you want to be mentored, if you want to progress, you would have to open yourself up and find teachers who or lecturers who are good in your area to reach out to. But that doesn't help if you're shy, if you're reserved. And these companies from the career fairs I went to would not even look at me and say, this is what we need in a potential employee. They just say, oh, write a CV and bring it. And here I am in a university student with very little work experience. My CV would not say much. And so it would not represent who I am as a person and where I want to go. So I believe that our career fairs should be more focused on building the students' capacity and knowledge on what is expected in the job market.
Thank you so much. That's a lovely answer. I hope anybody within the industry, university can see what we can do to improve this field. And maybe that way we can increase the mentorship space and even build the capacity of students. So the next question is going to be directed to Ms. Luvina. So as a woman in tech leadership, what role should industry professionals play in mentoring women while they're in university? So it's almost similar, but now from your perspective.
Okay, thank you. So I think it's similar to what she said. And I thank her for mentioning that when she was in school, it was mostly about the learning. It's mostly about the learning for most students. It's about just making the grades and getting out of that environment. But from my perspective as a woman in tech professional or a volunteer, I feel that what most of these organizations need to do, she said that, but what the other things that they must do is to have more engagement with these students. For example, Women in Tech Ghana, that's a lot of student engagement. Because I say this because I have had that problem where when I was in school, it was just about doing maths, physics, and computer science and nothing else. You know, it's like you want to just make the grades and you don't have time for anything else. But the more engagement you have with students, like this exposure that we are having where you are told some of the prospects that you can have out of the university when you are done with your programs, in addition to just getting the technical knowledge or the academic knowledge that you want. If you give them all the opportunities available in terms of soft skills as well, because in the universities, nobody teaches you about communication. Nobody teaches you about negotiation. Nobody teaches you about problem solving. It's just about the courses that you are doing, the subjects that you are pursuing. So for organizations like us, our role is to partner with these companies, institutions, and go out there and expose it, talk to the students, engage them more, let them know what is out there, so that when they come out, they are able to do more than just the book knowledge that they have. Let me use myself. I like to use myself as an example. When I was in school, it was just about learning. I didn't have time for anything. I virtually didn't have time. Anybody who knows me in school knows that Luvina is very quiet and she's all about the books. I didn't even know there were programs like these for students like me. So it was just about learning. And so when I finished school, I realized the gap she talked about when she was doing her presentation, it was really obvious to me, because just from school to the working environment, there was a huge gap. Here you are with just theory, and you go to the field and you have to put into practice what you have learned. And then you find that you don't have that experience at all. So for organizations like us, what we have to do is to encourage them to do more skilled courses. For example, we have emerging technologies, AI, all these other ones that are there. How do these students get exposure to these things? Women in Tech and other organizations have free courses and free programs that these students can take at their convenient times. If we don't tell them, they would not know. So we just need to let them know what prospects are available, what options they have as students, in addition to the programs that they are taking in school. And the benefits that they will get from engaging is not just telling them. If you expose them to the fact that they have free courses or maybe Coursera on some sponsored programs that they can run, and you don't let them know the benefits, they will not be motivated to go and take it up. But if they know that when I take this, these are the career paths that I can take. If I go for these roles, I'm able to speak in public. I'm able to express myself. Then I become confident. And when I go to the boardroom as a leader, I'm able to speak out because I have taken some skills in leadership. I've taken some short courses in confidence building. So organizations like us, our role is to partner more with these private and public sectors. So we are able to put our synergies together to go and then engage more with the students in whether the tertiary levels, the secondary schools, even the basic levels, where we do the role modeling, so that they know from the onset the career paths, the opportunities, the programs, and even the soft and hard skills that they have exposure to. Then they are able to inform, they are well informed as to the path to take before they get to the after university process, where they now have to fill a gap where they don't even see coming. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luvina. Such lovely answers. And both of you have somehow emphasized the importance of being all-rounded and the part we have to play in ensuring that every student is a bit well-rounded before they finally join in on the field. So thank you so much. The next question is going to Miss Nana. Are you ready? Okay. So as she continues getting the microphone, from a HR perspective, what specific gaps do you commonly see in early career women that better mentorship could address, particularly around interview preparation and career readiness? So what gaps have you seen that mentorship could
All
address?
right. So a lot has been said around what companies can do, and I really love your question as to the gaps that we also see from an HR perspective. It's important to understand that companies exist to make profits, and companies hire for value. Okay, so in as much as a lot of times companies want to develop people, the company also needs to meet that bottom line. And so for me, I would say that individuals or ladies or young women who are starting their careers need to know what they are offering a company. So once you are interested in a particular company, their purpose, their culture aligns with yours, you need to start investigating or researching that company to understand how you can create value for them. Because once you are able to do that, you already have one foot through that door. So that's dovetails into the gaps that we see in terms of confidence, in terms of being able to understand or appreciate what your strengths are. A lot of times when we interview young people for internships, you realize that one key gap is their ability to convey who they are, by who they are, not in terms of physically or anything, but in terms of what they will be bringing on board the organization. Because remember, there is an investment of time and effort that the line manager would need to put in to bring you up to speed with the rest of the team. And so if you are not able to communicate what your key strengths are, what your capabilities are, it makes it harder for the organization to bring you up. The other thing that I also want to highlight has to do with the ability to also have that initiative. A lot of young people want things done for them. And I say this with a lot of experience. So they want you to train them, they want you to do this, they want you to do that. But currently, we are in a time where information is more available than ever before. And so for me, I don't think anybody has an excuse any longer in terms of not being aware of what is available. I think what is important is to position yourself in a way where you are able to be visible. Okay, so that's another challenge that I see in terms of a gap. Very good women come into the organization, but once they get the job, they withdraw or they go back into their shell and they get intimidated at the table, because there's a lot of men at the table. They don't speak up any longer. And then you realize that you are losing that very bright woman you saw at the interview. And then as time goes on, family settles in, maybe she goes married or she gets settled into her career, and then that ambition just quietly dies down. So I think it's just important to continually be aware, continually position yourself to create value wherever you find yourself. And that's always the key to keep yourself up in your career.
Thank you so much, Nana. I think we can have the next question to Miss Georgette. Are you ready? Perfect. So as a supervisor in a tech organization, what are the unique mentorship needs you've observed for early career women?
Thank you for the question. So what I do with my unit and the university is, one, being intentional with the interns when they come in. So there's a program we have for interns, not just the technical bits, but then we do soft skills building and then the mentorship bit. So if I'm not able to mentor you based on your career path, I make sure to link you with people with that skills. So I don't just do mentorship and then I don't just leave them if I can't mentor them. I try to link them with suitable mentors. So that's one thing I do. Secondly, we deliberately collaborate with faculty members where I get in to do a presentation to them, let them know what's happening on the ground, so that it won't be just the academics, just like Luvina and then Georgina said, they get to relate to the industry and they get to relate to what happens in the industry. So by so doing, they get to talk to you. And they also come in, even when school is in session, they are always coming in. They don't just leave when they are done with the internship. You get them coming in, talking to you about their projects, even about the topics they want to pick, even to the extent that they want you to go through their final project, even go through their reports for you. And sometimes I get them to do presentation before the final presentation. Mm-hmm. So that's how far the mentorship goes with students. And adding to what I have said, I think there is a bit where you would have to be intentional with these mentees. You have to be intentional with them and let them know what you can accept and then what you cannot accept. Just like Nana said, they mostly would want you to do everything for them. They want you to do everything for them. So you just let them know how far you can go with them as a mentor, and then allow them to also do their best. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And just before you hand over the mic, what advice would you give to mentors about preparing their mentees for the job market and early career advancement? You've spoken about soft skills. That is something that is unique to you. You've taken the initiative to prepare them. Is there something that you've seen in your journey as a mentor that you think this is something that should be incorporated almost everywhere as these ladies come in, or gentlemen, just to prepare them over time in their journey?
So I would say know yourself, know your personality, know what you can take. Because there are a lot of fields in tech, a lot of fields in IT. The fact that you think this job or this field in tech is okay, or it sounds nice, like being a network engineer, and you can't even do that. So if you know yourself and you know your personality, it will guide you on what to do. If we look at the field in cybersecurity, there are a lot of fields in cybersecurity. We have the pen testers, we have people who basically do awareness. So if you're an introvert and then you want to go into a field where it will require you to do opposite to your personality, I think you would struggle. So if you know your personality, and then it will guide you to choose a career path, because your personality will complement what you do. If you are not that type and they put you out there to talk, you will struggle. you will struggle. Although there's an opportunity for you to learn and then build yourself, but your personality, I think, is the first thing you should look out for to choose a career, whilst you are building on other skills to be out there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've emphasized on something beautiful, understanding yourself. Because I'm trying to imagine working in a field that requires a lot of interaction, yet you're not really good at that. So thank you so much for that. And finally, this is a question to all panelists. So each of you is going to give your perspective on this. What practical steps can organizations, universities, or any other stakeholders, whether individual women or people working in private or public organizations, take to create more structured mentorship opportunities? What structures do you think need to be put in place when it comes to mentorship, basically? I think we can start with Miss Luvina.
Thank you so much for the question. And I wanted to highlight on the fact that as an organization, we have a structured mentorship program, and it's global. So it involves all chapters across the globe. And looking at that structure, which I've been part of for about 7 months now, upon joining Women in Tech, I think I would advise, this is the advice I'll give based on what I have experienced with this structure, organizations to also kind of leverage on it. So this structure is actually, it's tailored towards the youth. So you have mentors being aligned with, paired with their mentees. And the pairing is done based on the profile that you give about yourself, whether you're a mentor or a mentee. So you tell them your strengths, your weaknesses, what your future aspirations are, what your expectations are, what your career path, where you want to go, and some of the additional things you want to add to the knowledge that you already have. And the pairing is done by using an algorithm. So it's not done by a human being. So you are paired with whether you're a mentor, you are paired with your mentee based on the profile that you have built and what you have said that you are looking out for. And they look for a mentor who has the same profile as you or kind of closely matched. So the two of you are paired together. And the structure is such that you are paired with a mentor for 3 months. During this period, there's a lot of feedback, there's a lot of monitoring. So you are at liberty with as to how you want to engage with your mentor, the number of times you want to meet with your mentor, the number of engagements you want to have. This structure has worked because you have people from different backgrounds, different cultures, with different experiences coming together to pair up and share ideas and build each other up. What I would advise that organizations, institutions, corporations do is to be able to come together and collaborate. We have people doing different things, but we are all working towards the same goal. What I have seen from where I sit is that everybody is doing something different, but the end goal is to be able to empower younger people and get them to look up to people that they want to become like and pair them together so that they share ideas and experiences. So I feel there should be collaboration. So everybody has to come together and there should be a structure. This is what we are going with. Okay, so if it comes to the time, how many times should you meet as a mentor with a mentee? How many weeks, how many sessions should you have? How are we going to monitor the sessions? Because it's very important. It's not just having two people paired together, one provide guidance to the other person. There should be a monitoring system, a well-structured monitoring system that is able to get feedback as to whether the mentorship program is going well, whether each party is getting the value that they are looking for, and all that. And also when it comes to the pairing, if we are able to get a system to do that based on the profiles that we build ourselves as individuals, it will help in not just pairing people because they have similarities or they have the same vision, but you can also pair people because there are weaknesses that can be met by a mentor being paired with one mentee. So if there's collaboration, everybody comes together so that we don't have things in isolation. We all come together, put in a structure that is well monitored, that provides proper feedback and also provides rewards. Then we are able to get a headway. So for me, I think we are already doing these things, whether it is formal or informal in terms of mentorship. But to be able to provide mentorship for those in school and even the early career stage, I think we have to work together. There should be synergy. We all have to come together because we are working towards the same goal. When you work in isolation, you're unable to achieve a lot. But you come together and you put your thoughts, your ideas together, and there's one platform that everybody plugs into, and we are able to get the returns that we want. I believe we can make a headway. For me, the word is collaboration and partnership. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, let's hand it over to Georgette. Do you think there are any structures that organizations should put in place to better empower mentorship, either mentor or mentee from an
Okay, I think Luvina has said a lot, and she did mention of collaboration, feedback, and then she's basically said a lot, which it's the same thing I would say. Collaboration is very important, like I said, for the university students. There's a collaboration between the units and even the departments in charge of career and counseling. So you get them coming in asking us about students to mentor them and all that. And aside them coming in to collaborate with the unit, there's also the feedback thing that they take from us, because students don't just come for us to mentor them. They take feedback so that they will be able to know when to guide them. And since they are in school, some of them are likely to change jobs or change roles at any point in time. So based on the feedback, you'll be able to reassign the student to a different mentor based on the new career path or new dreams or aspiration the person wants to go. So that's what I would want to add.
Thank you so much. Just before you hand over the mic, maybe from your perspective, you've dealt with individuals. Do you think she spoke more on the organizational perspective? Now, assume the organization doesn't have that many people. Maybe there are a few individuals within the organization, but they're still looking to mentor. Is there any advice you could give them or any structures you think they can put in place? At least they're able to do it, whether they have the resources to or not.
Okay, so individually, I would say I have over 8 mentees. Out of the 8 mentees, I have only 1 from Ghana. I think I have 4 from Kenya, South Africa, and then Nigeria. Most of them are from Nigeria. So individually, you have to be intentional. You really have to be intentional, putting up structures to mentor them in terms of timing, communication. Talking about timing, you have to look for a time that will favor both the mentor and the mentee because of location. So timing is important. It's one thing you should put a structure to it so that you can meet them halfway. And also putting up resources. For resources, because most of my mentees may not be in the capacity to build themselves, what I do is if I have the chance to buy courses online, so I have an account for my mentees. So I do buy the online courses, and then whenever they are ready, I just share the username, the credentials with them, and then they go there to learn. But what I do from a security background, I make sure I change the password for each mentee who goes to the site to use it. So that's one thing I can also say that personally you have to help them invest in themselves. You help them invest in themselves by guiding them and telling them what to do and then putting up structures. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Georgette. That's really beautiful, and I'd like to say thank you on their behalf. I think next we can go to Miss Maison.
Okay, so before I answer the question, Georgette, are you taking any more mentees? I have some courses I need to do. So on how mentorship can be done in organizations and personally. So from the mentorship that I have received, what I noticed about it is it works best if it's natural, if it's not forced, if you actually have a relationship with this person. It's granted most of our mentors will be in professional settings, but it has to go beyond that for it to work well. Because to be able to motivate me well enough, you need to understand who I am as a person, what things am I lacking, and how can I meet those needs. Uh, I also feel like organizations should invest more in staff retreats and should take appraisal processes very seriously. In certain places, appraisals are just done and files are just kept. But as employees are stating their needs and requirements, I think this should be picked up and not necessarily putting money to invest in what the employee wants to do, but understanding their pain points personally so that you can work with them to make sure that these pain points are addressed. For instance, if you have a new mother, for instance, in your team, how can you help her as an organization to balance her work and her new motherhood so that she can continue to grow? I think these are things that we need to ensure that our companies are doing, or at least are taking note of. I also think that as a mentee, you should be willing to change and adapt as you are getting new information. So you're not stuck in your ways. If you hear, like for instance, you know how we say that you can take a horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink? It's something that mentors as well would need to take to heart because I would say with regards to my personal education, for instance, Miss Nodumo was telling me, oh, you should go and do your master's. You should do your PhD. And I told her, oh, as a woman in tech, I don't think I need a master's. I have the skill. I can do certificates. I don't need a master's. But then 5 years down the line, here am I doing my master's, thinking about doing my PhD. It's the repeated information that kept coming that, hey, this would be good for you. This would be good for you. And it was never forced. It was just subtle. And she understood who I was as a person and how to push me. So that's why I say that mentorship should be personal. Because if you do not have that relationship with your mentee, it will just sound like you are ticking boxes to say, okay, I need to get this person to do this, to progress. I need this person to graduate. So that personal level must come in to ensure that the targets that you are looking forward to ticking are actually going to be met. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Nuggets everywhere. I think next we can go with Miss Naana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for talking about the fact that mentorship is personal, because I think that's always that balance that people need to strike between mentoring and coaching. They are completely different things. So mentoring is where that personal relationship needs to come in. And I just want to highlight just three key things from an HR and a recruiter perspective that coming into an organization, we assess several people. So earlier this year, I think it was last year, we advertised for internship and we had over 700 applications and we just needed just about 20 positions. And you go through the CVs and some of them were not CVs. I think they just put lists together. And that's where it starts from. That clarity. So the first C for me is clarity, and I'll just go through 3 C's. The clarity to be able to communicate your journey, past, present, and future, is so important. Being able to document. So even if you have 1 year of experience, trust me, that 1 year can earn you a job. It is just how you tell your story. And unfortunately, you see a lot of young people and their CVs are nothing to write home about. Technology is everywhere. Even if you can't, just put your skills in ChatGPT and trust me, you would have a fit for purpose 8 years ready CV. 8 years is applicant tracking system, because a lot of the companies use AI supported, systems to be able to sort through the volume of applications that come in. So for me, it's clarity, being clear around what your journey is very important, and being able to articulate it, the value we spoke about earlier. The next C for me is curiosity. How curious are you? With everything happening in the world, how curious are you to position yourself, learn new skills? Fortunately or unfortunately for all of you, technology is one of the fastest moving industries. It's just moving so fast. And so if you are stuck in your old skills, you've developed a particular set of skills, so you're very comfortable, the competition will pass you by. Because this particular session, there are other organizations having these similar sessions, empowering other young ladies. So what differentiates you from that other young lady who is also pursuing her career? The last C for me is the continuous learning. And for us in HR, when it comes to learning, we apply the 70-20-10 rule, where 70% of your learning happens on the job. So that's experiential learning. The 20% is exposure, the projects you work on, the people you interact with, the people you are talking to. And then the 10%, which is the minor bit, is the formal classroom learning. So your certifications, training, that's just the 10%. So you can see that majority of the learning happens when you are visible, happens when you raise your hand, opt for projects. When you are uncomfortable, I had this mentee who was thinking of doing a postgraduate program, and she said, "Nana, I've been told, I should do an MBA." And I said, "Bridget, an MBA will not help you. Not because an MBA is not good, but look at where the world is moving to." Currently, she's in Legon doing data science or data analytics, and she's struggling. She says, "Nana, I'm uncomfortable." But I said, yes, it's through that uncomfortable feeling that you are learning. And she's getting better with each passing day. So what I would just say is clarity, curiosity, continuous learning. These are 3 key ingredients to really position you for the future.
Thank you so much. Before you hand over the mic, just you work within an organization. I don't know if your organization has like a structured way to how you do mentorship. Do you assign maybe one employee to new ones, etc.? Is there something, your organization is very big, by the way. Is there a structure that you have seen within your organization that you think will be really good that other organizations adopt, at least to ensure that you still are able to do the mentorship bit? Because it's not just about profit sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. So for my organization, our people make all the difference. And so definitely in terms of mentoring, like I mentioned earlier, we have structured mentoring programs. So we have it in 2 parts. So we have for young talent, so national service interns, when they come in, there's a structured program where they are paired based on their interests with other senior people within the organization, and then they go through the mentoring process. It's guided through some engagements, structured through timing, making sure that there are clear milestones that they are able to achieve during that engagement. The other bit is on-the-job mentoring for people who need to develop critical experience as part of their career development. So at the beginning of every year, each employee puts together their own development plan. And if it requires them to have some bit of mentoring, we are able to facilitate that as well. But I would say that a lot of it is dependent on the individual. The organization does its part, but a lot of the time the individual needs to be able to take their initiative and then sustain their mentoring relationship. The final thing I would say is that you don't have to be perfect to start a mentoring relationship. You could just be at a crossroads in your career or in your own journey and just find someone who has that capability to be able to support you in terms of what you need.
Thank you so much, Miss Nana. Clearly, we've gotten very beautiful messages. You've emphasized on the importance of initiative. Like, yes, the company may be willing to help, but it's still up to the individual to seek this help. I think we can go to our final question. If you could leave our audience with one essential insight in about a sentence or two about the power of mentorship for women in tech. Whether you're a mentor, mentee, a future mentor, or a future mentee, what would it be? I think we can start with Maison. Miss Maison.
In a sentence or two? Okay. So I speak a lot, which I'm sure you know by now. So I may go over, but in a sentence or two about mentorship that I would like to leave is that opportunities are very necessary because we learn by doing. And if you do not give your mentees opportunities to do things so they can actually see that they are getting things done and are capable of getting things done, they don't learn much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Miss Georgette?
So this will be for the mentees. It's for them to know that their mentors have shortfalls too. So it's okay if they are not getting all the right information now, or if it's okay if they are not getting there. They should just take their time, and in as much as they are looking up to their mentors, they should know that it's okay. It's okay to fail sometimes. You just have to put yourself together and then build yourself up again. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Luvina?
Okay, so my word is authenticity, and I think it was mentioned here. I believe in being yourself. So when it's a relationship, but you don't have to fake, because it is because you want to become better. That is why you are building that kind of relationship and seeking that guidance. So for me, they have to be real, they have to be authentic, they have to be themselves. And then that is where you are able to show your vulnerabilities as a person for the higher person who is also mentoring you to see where they can come in and provide the guidance, the direction, the coaching, everything that you need. So for me, it's just being authentic, being yourself, being the real you, and then getting the feedback that you want. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally, to Miss Nana.
All right, so I think I'll just emphasize what I've said already around clarity, curiosity, and continuous learning. For me, these are very important. And even as you continue on your journey, never burn bridges. You need people, and it's those people who will speak for you when you are not there.
Thank you so much. And that wraps up our session. I think I can give a closing remark. So, in honor of Miss Nodumo Dhlamini's legacy, the Queen herself, and her dedication to lifting up women in technology, let's commit to turning these insights into action in our own communities and careers. So thank you so much, ladies. It's been such a pleasure learning from all of you. I think I can hand over the mic back to the MC. Oh, there's gifts for everyone.
Okay. We have some appreciation from AfChix. So
Hey, book clap for them. Let's clap for them as they've done such a great job today. Thank you, Miss Nana. Thank you. Clap for Miss Georgina once more before she leaves. Yes, let's clap for Miss Georgette just before she leaves. And finally, let's appreciate Miss Luvina. Thank you so much, ladies, for showing up. Okay.